I'm Teresa Reed, your host for Aging for Life. Welcome. Just as race and wealth affect how we age, so does being LGBTQ, and generally not for the better. Older people who identify as LGBTQ are twice as likely to be single and live alone, 4 times less likely to have children, and far less stable financially than other older Americans after a lifetime of discrimination. SAGE is a national organization advocating to make LGBTQ elders visible and valuable to policymakers, elder organizations, and care partners in and out of the home. I'm thrilled to welcome today Angie Perrone, Executive Director of SAGE Metro Detroit, about experiences unique to aging while LGBTQ and the support and services SAGE has developed. Angie, welcome.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
I'm so glad you could make it. We want to start with a little short video, okay, about 2 minutes.
Great.
We'll watch it and then we'll chat.
As the American public ages, so do lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. LGBT older adults face the same challenges as other older adults, including financial worries and health concerns. But LGBT older adults face additional challenges. Let's compare 2 women, Tina and Jackie, who were both born in 1947. In 1967 at college, Tina meets Frank and Jackie meets Francis. On a date with Francis after work, Jackie is seen by a coworker who tells their boss. Jackie is legally fired and takes a lesser-paying job at a factory. In 1973, Tina marries Frank, but Jackie is unable to marry Francis. In the 80s, Tina and Frank have children, but Jackie and Francis are barred from adopting. After decades of hard work, in 2010, Frank and Francis retire. Tina takes Social Security spousal benefits. But because the federal government didn't recognize same-sex marriages then, Jackie is denied those benefits. In 2015, right before the freedom to marry becomes available nationwide, Frank and Francis die. Tina pays for her in-home care with her Social Security survivor benefits and funds from Frank's pension. Jackie is denied Social Security survivor benefits, and because she was not a legal spouse, is also denied Francis's pension. Their apartment was rented in Francis's name, and her state lacks non-discrimination protections in housing, so Jackie is evicted when she tries to change the lease into her name. Lacking an income and a place to live, Jackie moves into a nursing home and relies on Medicaid to pay for it. She fears discrimination if she shares stories about her past, so she doesn't talk about her life with Francis. Tina can afford in-home nursing care and has the support of her children. After a lifetime of discrimination, LGBT older adults face economic insecurity, poorer health, and reduced support networks. Find out more about the unique disparities facing LGBT older adults and how to remedy them, as well as the strength and resilience of LGBT adults at lgbtmap.org/older adults.
I think that's a fantastic video. It's such a tight, clear presentation of the challenges that LGBTQ people face throughout their life and how they manifest in older years. So let's talk about that. Give me some data about what we know about how LGBTQ people are faring in older age.
Well, so there's actually emerging data. There's not a lot of data compared to sort of general information about older adults because, unfortunately, we have a lot of surveys are not capturing information about LGBT people. However, we do have some important information. We have some great scholars who are doing this work. So we know, for example, that 9 out of 10 LGBT older adults do not have children compared to 2 out of 10 heterosexual or cisgender older adults. And by cisgender, that means older adults who are not transgender. Mm-hmm. So we also know that we have 7 out of 10 LGBT older adults who live alone compared to 3 out of 10 heterosexual cisgender. So it's more common for LGBT older adults to experience social isolation, right, and really kind of not have the same sort of supports and connections that a lot of other older adults may have.
Yeah, right. We were talking earlier about the social isolation, and it's just is so, we know that this is an issue for older adults in general, but of course it's so much worse for LGBTQ
Absolutely.
older adults, and it's just heartbreaking. So talk to us about the services and programs that SAGE has developed to support LGBTQ older adults.
Sure, sure. So we have 4 different areas of kind of services and programs and things that we work on to help LGBT older adults age with dignity and authenticity.
Yeah.
So for programs and services, we have our Friendly Caller program, which we launched over a year ago, and it matches LGBT older adults with volunteer callers of any age, really, I mean 18 and above. And the idea is to build connections and reduce social isolation. So we have some people that have been in the program from day one and have been in the program for at least a year. Then we have other people that have joined later, but it's a pretty good mix of people throughout the 4 counties we serve, which is Macomb, Oakland, Washtenaw, and Wayne County.
How do people sign up for that?
Right. So we have a variety of different ways that people sign up. Usually people will connect with Keisha. Keisha is our program coordinator, and she also goes out to the community and goes to festivals and fairs and aging service, different events, and people learn about the program there. But they sign up usually online.
Okay. Through your website?
Through our website,
Okay.
or through Keisha, and she can help folks kind of sign up through her. So you can call Keisha, or you can go to our website, and all of our information is on our website, which is sagemetrodetroit.org.
Do people keep the same caller, or is it different callers?
Usually, so it's set up so that you have one caller that's matched, but of course not everyone matches well, and so sometimes we rematch. Sometimes people will leave the program because they have life circumstances arise, or other time commitments. This is particularly true for the volunteer callers. The folks that have participated in the program as LGBT older adults who want to receive a call, we've had pretty high retention, close to 90%. And the volunteer callers, it's been upwards of about 80%, but still we have,
good.
it is a pretty high percentage.
That's very good,
But
yeah.
that's once they've actually been matched. You know, initially, because we do really try to make sure folks are properly prepared.
Yeah.
So we've had a few people drop off before they've been matched.
Yeah. Well, that you're going to expect that,
Right.
because you don't want to be putting people out there
Precisely.
who aren't prepared, and
Precisely.
and that's part of the process of weeding people out.
Exactly.
To make sure you end up with an 80% retention rate, which is great.
Exactly. We did have one person who didn't realize that it was for LGBT older adults, and I think
Oh,
dropped off because she wasn't
maybe a little uncomfortable.
A little uncomfortable. So we've had a couple
okay.
of situations like that. So we really try to make sure we weed through all of that eventually.
Yeah, right.
We don't want someone who's experiencing social isolation to have that be their match.
That would be really unfortunate.
Devastating.
Yeah, that'd be really bad. So great job with that. And what other programs? You said 4, right? So that's one.
Right.
Okay.
So we do an LGBT Older Adult Summit. So we're doing our 9th annual one, June 22nd. And it brings a pretty diverse group of LGBT older adults. This year we're having it at Wayne State University in Detroit. And also service providers come as well. And it's an all-day event where you learn about different topics, and
that's fantastic.
people have different discussion. This year's theme is maintaining and building meaningful connections. And it's a variety of different connections, whether it's through technology, intergenerational connections, mind, body, spirit, social connections. We're sort of broadly thinking about connections through this.
Oh, that's really great. That's wonderful. How many people will you expect to come?
So last year we had about 150 LGBT older adults.
Wow.
And then we also have service providers provide information, and these are service providers we know that are LGBT welcoming, of course. So we try to vet them in advance as well. And so I think last year we had about 20 to 30 service providers providing information as well.
Wow, that's great. That must be such a great opportunity for people to meet each other and to renew old connections, and that's really great. Okay. So
we have the Friendly Caller program, the summit. We also do an intergenerational dinner. So we've done a few of those already, and we're doing a few more this year, about 3 more this year. And it's we try to provide free dinner for LGBT people across the age spectrum and allies. And the idea is to provide meaningful conversation and connection and support. And we realized that there actually was a lot of desire across the generations to come together and have both simple conversations in terms of just kind of basic, kind of get to know you, and also really challenging conversations about what are what are ways that we are creating barriers for one another, different groups, and what are ways that we can overcome those barriers together and support each other.
What kinds of barriers within the community?
So I think, and I don't think this is necessarily specific to LGBT people, but I think sometimes intergenerational programming can be difficult because of expectations.
I see, right.
So I don't think there's anything really unique about the LGBT community in that respect, but there's ageism, certainly.
Yeah, so do you find that affects, so within the LGBTQ community, you find ageism
exists,
also?
absolutely.
It just is.
Absolutely, yeah. And so, we try to counter that, and these intergenerational conversations help us slowly counter some of the negative stereotypes about older adults.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for doing that. That's really wonderful.
And the younger LGBT people and allies who participate also really get a lot from it, from hearing the experiences and stories and perspectives from the older adults who participate.
Yeah, right. Do you have any outcome data on that?
We haven't done any sort of systematic or any sort of rigorous scientific data on that. We did on our very first SAGE table, we call them SAGE tables, we did do kind of focus groups, and we are collecting and sort of analyzing that data now, and so it's qualitative data, and so we've got some really rich, interesting insights about how different generations are thinking about caregiving and how they're thinking about even just identifying themselves and relationships and the idea of even marriage and what does it mean within different communities and why is it important or not important.
Right, right. There's been some recent data, and I'll put this article up on the website, agingforlife.org, showing that some, like even small amounts of exposure in intergenerational settings can really kind of wake up younger people to, oh yeah, okay, those stereotypes aren't really fitting.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
so
Right.
when I know it's hard to operationalize the outcome research, but I bet you'll find some really good attitudinal changes from that.
I think so, and I think there's also an important opportunity for our LGBT older adults to also challenge their own perceptions about youth that are participating or younger adults too. So we're seeing it both ways.
It does go both ways. It's usually stronger one way, right? It's usually stronger against older adults.
Sure.
Yeah, but and then sometimes defensively, older adults will say, "Oh, those people, those young people,"
Right.
Partly because because they've been hurt.
Right.
So.
Well, the other thing too we saw from our earlier SAGE table is that when we heard those comments, and a lot of them were said in the context of concern for a lot of the LGBT youth and fear that because they haven't necessarily experienced some of the same challenges, they may not be prepared for what's ahead. And so,
for sure.
So I think there was some
interesting
kind of rationalizations I think that were happening when some of the stereotypes were being said from older adults in particular.
Right. Of course, with legalized marriage, for instance, that's some of the impact is going to be very different.
Exactly.
So thank God for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Although what's happening, which is a little bit concerning, is I think that there's an assumption from I think sort of the general public too, and also within the LGBT community, that okay, well we've gotten marriage equality, we can take a break, we can rest, we can take a breather. When what's happening is we've actually seen significant pushback, both from policy and also agencies, service providers, from a variety of different areas and different ways that have created more obstacles and barriers for LGBT people.
Really? Oh, man.
So we still have legalized discrimination against LGBT people, really both federally and certainly within the state of Michigan and a variety of other states. We're not protected, so you can be fired, you can be discriminated against with housing.
Right.
And in fact, over half of same-sex couples have experienced discrimination when seeking senior housing.
Senior housing.
Senior housing, yeah. And so there's a number of cases right now kind of circulating throughout the country that are addressing discrimination in senior housing right now against LGBT people.
Oh my God. Okay. You mentioned 4 programs, and I think we've talked about 3.
Right.
Yeah.
So
okay.
We also have support and discussion groups that we support. And then we also do a training and education, pretty rigorous training and education program, both in person, and we just launched an online training program, which we're really proud of, that is really aiming to change the culture within the organizations or agencies that take the training. So we don't want just anyone to take it, check the box. We make you do the work. And so we have follow-up, and we have the folks who take the training make commitments, and then we ask about how did that work. And it's also learning for us to see what's happening on the ground.
Yeah. And so what's the training? Tell me about.
So the training we have, so their in-person training is, we have different versions. Most people do sort of like a 101, kind of LGBT competency, LGBT aging competency 101, or cultural humility 101. And then we also do, but it's also, we kind of can go an advanced level if organizations are more kind of familiar with aging issues. We haven't done too many of those. Most people really want the 101. But our online trainings, we have 9 different modules.
Wow.
And they're each probably about a half hour long, and that includes the work that we ask people to do. So if you were to just go through it and read it, it would probably take maybe 15 minutes. But we ask people to do work. So for example, we have one on inclusive policies, one on how to inclusive outreach, inclusive intake forms, inclusive telephone calls, waiting rooms. And the idea is we want to give folks the tools to be the most inclusive they can be for LGBT older adults. And we've found that people want that.
Wow.
But we just don't have the tools to do that. So we're trying to give people the tools and also the accountability to stay on top of it.
Right, right. That's fantastic. So these would be like doctors' offices and
aging service providers, anyone who works with older adults really can take these. And then we also developed 3 kind of advanced content ones based on issues that we think are particularly create a lot of obstacles for LGBT older adults. And we heard from the field people wanted these sooner rather than later. So one on social isolation.
That's great.
One on long-term care and assisted living. And then one on a really kind of emerging issue that's been challenging, navigating faith-based or religious concerns about providing services for LGBT older adults.
Right, right.
So, that's been a newer issue.
So that would be, who's navigating that? The
anyone really?
No, but I mean, like is it the people who are providing the services, like the heads of the agencies who have employees who have? Okay.
Yeah, it would be usually, but it could also be service providers who have colleagues who are concerned about providing services to LGBT older adults, and how do they navigate that? So it's
wow, that's great.
Yeah, so it's a tricky subject, and I think we're the only ones that have this out there in terms, as far as I know. So it'd be interesting to see the feedback we get from the module, but we're trying to provide another tool for folks to be inclusive.
Yeah, that is fantastic. You're doing amazing work.
Thank you.
I mean,
there's so much to do, and so there's like a million more things we could do, but we have a lot of great partners and a lot of great volunteers, actually, who make this work possible.
That's cool. So tell me about some of your partners. Who are your best partners?
Oh gosh, the best. I don't want to say
the best. Yeah, right. Okay, I'm sorry. Take it back. Retract.
But
strongest.
We have great partners. We actually, Sage developed, Sage Metro Detroit developed as a 501c3 in 2015, but we originally started as an LGBT older adult coalition in 2010.
Okay.
So we had already developed a pretty strong foundation of partnerships with the AAA, so the area agencies on aging, both in Detroit, the Senior Alliance, AAA 1B, and then we also we had a strong partnership with the ACLU, a lot of other service providers, healthcare providers. Our board is made up of a lot of people from different organizations within sort of this 4-county area. AARP, we work closely with them.
Oh, that's great.
Alzheimer's Association. And then there's a number of different long-term care, assisted living facilities and senior housing facilities that we work closely with as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate. I mean, we constantly want to build our partnerships and expand them more, but we've been very successful with the community partners that are interested and willing to take that first step and be more inclusive.
That's really impressive, and that's a testament. That's a testament to your work. You've just done amazing work. I think we're just about out of time. So, is there anything else that you would like to add that we haven't touched on that you think it's important for people to know?
We do a Rainbow Resource Guide, which provides vetted, as much as we can, resources for LGBT older adults, caregivers, service providers. And we require all of the listings to sign a statement of inclusion. We ask whether they have inclusive policies, whether they've done trainings, and then we provide icons next to them. So we did this a couple years ago, and we had these icons, and people found the guide very, very useful. So we want to make sure that the community knows about this guide. It's available online. We're in the process of doing a newer version, an upgraded version. So it's a really important resource. In addition to, we have an LGBT inclusivity toolkit on our website, and a caregiving guide on our website as well.
Incredible. So the icons, I just want to come back to the icons.
Sure.
You mentioned there are icons on in the, what are they of?
So it would be if they have an inclusive, non-discrimination employment policy, and it has to be written.
Okay.
If it includes sexual orientation, they get an icon. If it also
I
includes
see,
gender
okay.
identity, they get an icon.
Got it, got
They've
it.
had LGBT-specific training, they get an icon.
I see. Okay, great. So it's really, you can tell at a glance some of what you're dealing with.
Right, but everyone in the guide has been vetted at least by, they've signed their inclusion statement. Because some organizations can't always do the written policy because they have a national structure that takes time.
Yeah.
So at the very least, they have this written inclusion policy, at least locally.
Okay, so the Rainbow Resource Guide, where do people pick it up?
So our hard copies, usually they're actually around at different service providers, organizations. We have an online version online on our website.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
So if you just go to our library on our website and then scroll down, you can find our resource guide is there.
Okay, that's fantastic. And once more, at sagemetrodetroit.org,
Correct.
right? Okay,
Correct.
great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was wonderful.
Oh, man. I mean, it's so impressive, the work that you're doing. It's
Thank
so
you.
valuable, and thank you.
Thank you.
for doing
Yeah.
that.
And really, it's a testament to the many, many people who have been working hard to build this community and the support here.
Yeah. Well, and the trust that you've developed over the years as you've developed these programs and established a relationship. So good job.
Thanks.
Thank you to Angie Perrone. Isn't she amazing? She's just an amazing person. So, as Executive Director of Sage Metro Detroit. I'm Teresa Reed. Thanks for watching Aging for Life. You can check out our website, lots of resources, including links to Sage Metro Detroit at agingforlife.org. Thanks. I'll see you next time.